Very much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I will respond just now to all the misinformation and half-truth that was peddled and regaled this House just now by the Honourable Member, Mr. Kemaraj Ramjatan. Before I did that, Mr. Speaker, first of all, before I do that, first of all, let me congratulate my distinguished colleague and brother, his team, for bringing to this National Assembly and formulating a budget that is robust, dynamic, comprehensive, and transformative. Mr. Speaker, this budget will address the socio-economic transformation of Guyana and build up fortify one Guyana. Mr. Speaker, this budget will drive economic expansion, increase productivity, and enhance competitiveness. Mr. Speaker, this budget will be remembered in the history as the budget which propelled the Guyanese economy into unprecedented development. Mr. Speaker, unlike the budget like from the APNUAFC, which had no substance, this budget will start the economic transformation of our country. And Mr. Speaker, just now we heard a number of misinformation, and I want to correct the Honourable Member. This here is the august body that we formulate laws. And when we come here, we must be very truthful. You're talking about climate change. What did the APNUAFC did for climate change? You all bought 12 defective pumps from India and brought it to Guyana. 12 defective pumps you all brought. You paid 75% of the money, and the pumps are inoperable. The pumps cannot perform. You bought fire engine to do pumping work in the drainage area. That's the achievement of the APNUAFC government. Mr. Speaker, and I want to be very serious. The Honourable Member came here, said just now that my brother, colleague, has manufactured information in the fishing industry. Probably the Honourable Member is not living in reality. Mr. Speaker, although we have issue in the fishing industry, we have seen the increase in catches for the latter part of last year. Mr. Speaker, and I want to quote a reputable processor in the fishing industry, the largest, and I want to say this publicly, the largest exporter in the history of Guyana told me last night that production increased from 400,000 pounds to 1 million tons in January. 1 million tons in January. And Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member talked about the planting chip factory. The planting chip factory, Mr. Speaker, when we took over, had 6 employees doing nothing because the equipment that they bought was wrong equipment. The planting chip factory was not functioning. That's the achievement of the APNUAFC government. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member talked about the facility in Region 1. Hostororo, let me tell you what. The facility is incomplete without a boiler and it's not operable. We have to make that operable, Mr. Speaker. We have to make that operable, Mr. Speaker. So when you come here and talk about achievement, talk about the facts. Talk about the facts, what is taking place. And Mr. Speaker, I'll talk about the sugar just now. I want to take umbrage on this, on the note what the Honourable Member would have said just now. And he talked about flood relief. He said about flood relief. And he said, and he also said, he also said that we have distributed to our families and friends. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I want to say that thousands of farmers in our country, were provided with flood relief. That is why we were able to bring back production to standard and up production in 6 months from the agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, I have here in my hands more than 570 villages that has received flood relief from the government of Guyana. But Mr. Speaker, I will say about people. The PPP has friends in all corners of this country, if you call them our friends. We love to have friends. I have here in my hands testimony. The first one I have here is from your people. The chairman from the International Decade for People and African Descent, Mr. Vincent Alexander, is chairman of this body. You know what he said? He wrote to the Director General. He says, please accept our appreciation for following through on the commitment of the Ministry of Agriculture to provide flood relief to our members. This, Mr. Speaker, that is we have friends in this organization. Mr. Speaker, we have here a letter from the Victoria community. I hear what they said. I want to read it for your understanding, to know that we have friends and we have supporters in every corner in this country, Mr. Speaker. Hear what they say. Hear what they wrote. I will read. Dear Minister Mustapha, appreciation for assistance. Victoria Community Development Council, in collaboration with the Victoria Northbrook Farmers Group, would like to formally thank you and extend to the Ministry of Agriculture and the Government of Guyana for the assistance we received during the flood. These are our friends, farmers in these areas. Mr. Speaker, I have here, and it's hurting you all, because you know what? You feel that you all own a set of the population in this country, but not more anymore. Not anymore. They're coming to us because we help them. Mr. Speaker, again I have here. Dear Mr. Mustapha, we the farmers of Ithaca community and the Ithaca Cooperative Society would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the President, Dr. Irfan Ali, and the Minister of Agriculture for the timely intervention with the cash grant. Ithaca. These are our friends in Ithaca. Mr. Speaker, I have it here again. You know, I will go through each and every one of this letter. You know what? You know why? Because you is accusing people in these communities that they receive flood relief wrongfully, and I will be going back to these communities to tell them that the PNC and APNU AFC accuses them of receiving false flood relief. I will go and tell them. Mr. Speaker, the village of Seafield and member of the Rainbow Generation Farmers Group suffered greatly during the recent flood. We lost our crop and animal. We were relieved to hear the President say the government would give us the flood relief cash grant. We collected ours during the Region 5 distribution, and it has helped us so much to go back to the field and start back our farming. This is the Seafield. We have friends in Seafield. We have supporters in Seafield. Mr. Speaker, the farmers, this year, I will give copy to the Honorable Speaker, so you can see it. You can see it publicly. I am raising this so that the people in this community will see that we are making the representation for them in this National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, again, the farmers group of Belladrum community extend appreciation to the government and the President for giving them relief. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it's hurting. It's hurting. They can't take it anymore, you know. They can't take it anymore. They're feeling it. It's stinging them. So they can't take it anymore, Mr. Speaker. It's stinging them. You know, it will hurt me if a man go in Bloomfield or Portman and say they get support up to AFC. So it's hurting you all that we are getting the support of the people of this country. This is the one Guyana. This is the one Guyana the president is talking about. The one Guyana will be built under the People's Progressive Party civic government. Mr. Speaker, it's hurting you all. It's hurting you all. It's stinging you. You can't take it. You can't take it. The Siparupa farmers, the Siparuta farmers group send their appreciation to the ministry and the president. Mr. Speaker, the farmers of the Zion Methodist Church and the Central Methodist Church group are very grateful for the assistance they received from the government during the recent flood. These are our families and friends. The entire country of Guyana, all its citizens are our families and friends. Are our families and friends. One Guyana that we're talking about, and you can't take it anymore. Mr. Speaker, then we have the Oriala Farmers Organization. And here we have Region 3, the dam still, standing right there, still. And they're right here, Mr. Speaker. The Water Users Association chairman wrote and thanked the government. And Mr. Speaker, we have here, I heard the honorable member say yesterday about, he said yesterday about the Makalis Victoria area, Golden Grove Victoria. We have the Golden Grove Victoria Farmers Association thanking the government for the flood assistance. So, Comrade Speaker, I can testify, and probably the honorable member is correct, that the PPP civic government have families and friends right across this country, in every corner of this country, and we will have no apologies to assist these farmers. So, Mr. Speaker, just now when the Speaker spoke, the honorable member, Mr. Ramjatan, he talked about corruption. Probably this minister, this member, he don't remember what happened in their tenure. He don't remember what happened to their tenure. Remember, Mr. Speaker, you all remember the gold bangle? You remember the gold bangle? You remember the laptop? You remember the firearm license selling? You remember the Durban Park scandal? You remember the bedsheet story? You remember the drugs ban scandal? And so many scandals in this country, and the scandals have caused you all to be over there, and you will remain over there for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, you will remain over there. And not in your lifetime, you will see back government again. What you all have done to this country. You all have destroyed the entire country, and we are now rebuilding. You said, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member, said that people think that government started in 2015. Of course, government didn't start in 2015. The corruption, the squandermania, the decline started in 2015. Those are the things started in 2015. You know, the destruction of our country. We had people who never worked. The Ministry of Agriculture was running autopilot from 2015 to 2020, Mr. Speaker. They was running on autopilot like many other ministries and many other areas in government. So when you come to this honorable house, come with facts. Don't come and make general statements. Come here with facts. Facts that will show that what you are doing are facts to highlight it if it is true. Don't come with statement that is false. What happened to the Chronicle $5 million? You're talking so much. What happened to the Chronicle? The police will start that case very soon. We'll start that case very soon. What happened to the $18 million bonus? You all want to take it as a gift. You all want to take it as a gift. Imagine that. The chief financial officer in the country said a bonus is a gift. So I come to sugar. This. You all remember this document? You know something? Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you something. The honorable member, Mr. Speaker, would have had a hard time in school. You know what? Because every single year since 2020, I try to remember him about this document. And in my head hard, you not take on this thing in here? I want to read it back again. Why? Why you are not listening to me? Why you are not listening to me, Mr. Speaker? Here what happened. This here is a report, a volume 1 report that, I'm going to tell you about it just now. Listen and learn. This here is a report, a Commission of Inquiry volume 1. And this was commissioned by the APNU AFC government. And somebody remind me, President Granger, former President Granger, commissioned this. You know, he said, and Ramjatan, honorable member, always like use the word right size. Well, here the right size. This here says every government has an obligation and commitment to all the people of the country. Optimal use has to be made of the limited resources, especially where poverty is no stranger to society. It went on to say, the COI does not recommend the closure of any estate, Financial support will be needed, and this should be provided by the government on a timely basis. That's the PVP civic government doing. Because what we did, we went and we saw estates that were closed. You all slaughtered, you know, slaughtered and closed the estate. Mr. Speaker, the destruction that took place under the APNU AFC government, they feel that we get a magic wand. We go touch the estate and say, open estate, open. You know, that's the man. Open estate, you know, when he don't think. When he doesn't know what is happening in an area, don't speak about it. You all destroy the estate, you all destroy thousands of people's lives, and you all are feeling that we have a magic wand. We all touch the estate and say, open estate, open. Like an open sesame, open. That you feeling about. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you what. One estate. I want to give an example for one estate. Rosal Estate, when we went there, what we reached? We reached an abundant cultivation overgrown with bushes and had an abundance of old cane abundant since 2017 and were of no value. That means we have to do retilling, we have to do replanting, and we have to ensure that we have time to have enough cultivation so that we can have cane and sugar to be produced at that estate. And we are in the process of doing that. Mr. Speaker, that's the argument now, you know, but that's the reason they are over there. Mr. Speaker. You know why they're over there? Because they feel that cane cutter and sugar workers are not people that they can do anything and run roughshod over them and dismiss them, broke up families, destroy communities, and they feel that they're doing something good for the people of this country. But not again. I stated in the budget speech. That we will never abandon our responsibility to the sugar workers and the workers of this country. That is stated in the speech of the Honorable Minister. Mr. Speaker, and I can go on and tell you what we met when we went to these estates. And we are in the process of reopening these estates. And we'll do it by phase. We'll do it in phase. Mr. Speaker, and let me tell you what, you know, Mr. Speaker, I want to make this point. When you don't know nothing, when you don't know anything, and you come to this house shouting, brawling, fighting up, and say that do this, do that, do this, and you don't know anything, that position is cannot be tolerated here. Because you get a man shouting over his voice and you never see a cane field in his life. Honorable Sherrod Duncan, he ever went to a cane field? He know what is cane? He ever went to a cane field, Mr. Speaker? Right. So he doesn't know what is happening. So, Mr. Speaker, that's the fact. Because that's the fact. And I haven't started my presentation as yet. I haven't started my presentation because I had to respond. I have to respond to the misinformation. The misinformation and the untruth that was presented by the honorable member just now. They feel that they are cleaner than Caesar's wife, coming to this house and saying that we are incorruptible and they're over there corrupted. Comrade, we know about the bangle, we know about the bed sheet, we know about the gift, we know about the drugs ban scandal, we know about the Durban project, the Durban Backland project, and many other more. What you think? If you all were doing good, if you all were doing good, you would be over there. If you all were doing good for the 5 years, you would be over there. But the people saw that in 23 years, the People's Progressive Party moved this country. And they tried to give you all a chance to see if you all can do anything. But you all can't do nothing. You know how you all behave here. Let me tell you what. When you are in the opposition, you have all the answer for problem under the sun. And when you come in government, you get brain dead. Your brain gone. Your brain gone in, you're dead. So I will talk about agriculture, but I have to respond to the misinformation that was peddled. The misinformation you bought, look, the Attorney General is here. He's now trying to recoup our money for the pumps that you all purchased from the defective pump, the fire engine. The man bought fire engine pump to pump drain. Imagine that, fire engine pumps to pump drain. Mr. Speaker, and we will continue investment. This year, another $6 billion is budgeted for the sugar industry. Another $6 billion. And what we will do, when we invest another $6 billion, we create more jobs. Tens of thousands of jobs we create. And we help tens of thousands of families. We put in the village economy more cash. And thousands of people are benefiting, not only the sugar workers, but people who live in the community and who depend on the sugar industry indirectly. So we will continue to support it. And we will continue to support all other industries in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the honorable member talked about the we didn't put any much funds on the non-oil sector. But who closed the sugar industry? Who brought agriculture down on its knees? Who brought agriculture down on its knees? When we took over government, listen, when we took over government, Guyana would have lost its place as the spokesperson on agriculture in CARICOM. Never in the history since the formation of CARICOM, we always speak on agriculture. When I became Minister of Agriculture, CARICOM was crafting a food strategy for the COVID pandemic. You know who was heading that? The Minister of Agriculture from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because Guyana was not doing that. And you know what we are doing now? You know, the first meeting when we got into government of the CARICOM heads of government, the first meeting of the CARICOM heads of government when we got into government, our president rescued back that position, and today he is the lead spokesperson on agriculture in CARICOM. And Mr. Speaker, this is nothing of a fluke. What happened? We have visionary leaders. You all remember the former president and now vice president would have crafted an initiative called the Jack Dales Initiative that has been adopted by CARICOM. Those are vision that we're talking about. Those are the vision. We are not talking about planting chips and cocoa price and dark food industry. You all were a dark food government, creating dark food for the people of this country. Telling the young people, Mr. Speaker, to cook dark food. So much they gone to a dark food government talking about agriculture. Talking about the agriculture. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to touch little on the rice industry. I know my time is going fast, but let me because I have to deal with this misinformation that was peddled by Honorable Ramjatan. Mr. Speaker, the rice growing industry is expected to grow significantly this year, almost by 25% according to projection from the budget speech. This is testament to our rice farmers being steadfast against the challenge of COVID-19 and the May-June flood of 2021. And over the next 5 years, we predict a tremendous increase in annual rice production. Mr. Speaker, the rice industry has been making valuable contribution to our country's economy. We saw under the APNUAFC rice production start to decline, and less acreage came under cultivation. You know what? When we took government in 2020, rice farmers had to pay $15,000 an acre for D&I charges and land rental. We brought that down back to $3,500 per acre, and because with that one measure, rice farmers were able to save almost $1.6 billion back in their pocket. We took out the VAT on agriculture inputs, agriculture machinery, and the cost of production went down. That's the way how to run an industry, not to tax people, not to put increased fees, Mr. Speaker, and burdens on the backs of the farmer. All the burdens that were placed on the backs of the rice farmers of this country we took out those burdens, and today the rice industry is again prospering. The rice industry is moving leaps and bounds, Mr. Speaker. We are bringing out new variety. Only last year we launched a new variety called in GRDB 16. You know what that is doing now? That is moving the national average from 39 bags per acre to between 55 to 60 bags per acre. That's the variety we're talking about. We are working right now to bring out another variety called the Bio-fortified rice. You know, that is very nutritious and will be very healthy. The supplement that doctor ordered the patient to buy, the zinc supplement, we are now growing it in that rice. That rice will attract lucrative price and preferential price, the Bio-fortified rice. That, Mr. Speaker, that we are in the third trial now, and very shortly, that will come out, and we'll, as long it's come out good, Mr. Speaker, we'll start get farmers to plant. So Guyana is the only country in CARICOM that will plant that variety of rice. Mr. Speaker, we'll invest another $49.5 million for provision and an installation of a pre-cleaner and rehabilitation of a seed paddy facility at Anvoak in Region 5 to increase seed paddy production from 9,000 to 50,000 bags per crop at the MMA. The MMA is the largest rice cultivation area in our country, and we are preparing. Likewise, we will be expending another $20 million to purchase a seed drying facility at Blackbush Polder, where over 600 farmers will be benefiting. Those are the things that we're talking about. Last year, we would have built 6 new drying floors. This year, we'll continue to have to build another 2 so that farmers can have access to dry their paddy. Mr. Speaker, we'll meet there. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, the honorable member, the then former Minister of Finance talked about drone. Probably he was a fan of flying things at that time. Drone wasn't implemented in this country. Mr. Speaker, now we are doing that. That's the technology we brought to this in the rice industry. Last year, November, a farmer in Golden Fleece used drone to do comment spraying. Imagine that, 135 acres of rice that would have taken 3 days with 3 persons was sprayed in half a day by the drone. This year, we will be purchasing a drone for the rice research station so that we can have that technology there too. So we are modernizing. We are modernizing the rice. Rice sector. Likewise, we are modernizing also the flood and resilience of our program. Mr. Speaker, it's a priority of our government to modernize and upgrade infrastructure to advance water management, as strategically guided by the revised LCDS 2030. In Budget 2022, focus will be placed on expanding and strengthening drainage and irrigation systems to improve drainage of agricultural area, with a $13 billion in drainage and irrigation. Mr. Speaker, to this end, $1 billion will be invested for the urgent acquisition of equipment needed to enhance flood protection and operation capacity.
Honourable Minister, you will need an extension to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request an extension of 5 minutes for the Honourable Member to conclude his presentation. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, you can continue to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I said, that the DNI system will be modernized this year. We'll continue to do large projects that will have impact on our country, like the Hope Canal. You all remember the Hope Canal, visionary. The Jack Day and the PPP civic government, again, vision to create that canal. We will be doing canals like those in regions 3, 5, and 6 this year. Start those work there so that we can mitigate flooding in our region and prepare for climate change. Those are projects that will help the agriculture sector advance and move forward. Mr. Speaker, like the comrades, the honourable member is talking about outfall. What they did at the Edwards, they built a sluice, went and commissioned the sluice without an outfall. When we got into government, we had to build the outfall for the water to run out. That's the vision of those people over there, those honourable members. Mr. Speaker, on a lot more projects we will be continue to do in this country to improve the DNI structure. I heard just now, and I said the honourable member mentioned a number of pump stations. I can't think of those any pump station that is functioning that they built. All those pumps that they put in, as I said, fire engine again. So we should have named them 2 things: dark food plus fire engine government. That's the term we should give them. Mr. Speaker, as I said, today Guyana is chairing the ministerial task force. We have prioritized items and commodities that we are pursuing. We have already started the trial run with the corn and soya beans. This year we will continue to expand that. Last year we started 125 acres. This year we will continue to expand it to 2,700 acres so that we can move this process forward. The feed industry in our country, we import close to about $30 million annually in feed. We want in another 3 years to be self-sufficient and another 2 years from there to be a net exporter of corn and soya. That's the vision we are talking about. Those are the policies that change people's lives and improve our country. Mr. Speaker, it will be remiss of me if I don't mention this project. And this is the Agriculture and Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. This is a program, Mr. Speaker, was launched recently by His Excellency the President. This initiative stemmed from the President's and the PPP Civic's unwavering support for young people and their needs. We are not telling them to go and cook dark food, or do cook up rice, or do pepper sauce, or bake breadfruit chip. We are putting people where they can work and earn, people who are qualified. And Mr. Speaker, as I said, this initiative also tied directly into our government's manifesto, which has become policy now of creating jobs, opportunity for youth in Guyana, especially our young women. Mr. Speaker, as I'm speaking here now, works are ongoing on the shade houses that will be built, almost 300 in this country, where young graduates from the University of Guyana, the Guyana School of Agriculture, and other young people that represent the country itself, people from every single background are there working so that they are in this initiative to build the one Guyana that we spoke about and the President wants to build. That's the way we are equipping our young people, not for them to cook dark food, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can go on and on. The agriculture sector will be robust. As I said, for the NARI will up their activity this year, 1.27 billion is budgeted for NARI to expand production. We are looking this year to increase onion production and Irish potato production so that we can produce large quantities for domestic consumption and ease the food import bill of our country. Mr. Speaker, in the livestock sector, I said, I received a message here from GLDA, and I can say I received a message from GLDA that told me that the GLDA hatchery and hatcher were done before 2015. Don't come to this National Assembly and be untruthful. Look, they just send me this message and say, and I am saying it publicly, it was done in the PPP civic government and they're taking credit for it. They're taking credit for it. Mr. Speaker, in agro-processing, we are moving rapidly. We are having agro-processing facility to build in all corners of this country. Region 1, Region 6, Region 9, and every corner. And we are giving equal opportunities to people across our country. Mr. Speaker, over the last year, 42 new agro-processors have come on board, and we have increased the items to 292 new products in the GMC shop. And we can go on and on. As I said, the livestock development, we are moving at a pace. We are trying to do a plan now for a food traceability system. As the honorable member mentioned about the Food Safety Authority that they formed, it was never working. Now this year we are putting things in place to make it work. Nothing worked. Nothing worked under the AP and UAFC government. You had nothing to show, and that is why you are over there in the opposition. And Mr. Speaker, as I said, also what we'll be doing this year, we will be putting mechanism to improve the fishing sector. We will be improving the aquaculture sector, and at the same time to enhance also fishing in the marine sector, where we will introduce marine cages to the fishing sector for the first time in the history and this part of the world. So, Mr. Speaker, as promised, there is enough room in this budget to move the process forward. So, as I said in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the budget is the tools to move our country to prosperity. We start the modernization this year, and this year will transform Guyana. We will have a new Guyana. We will have a Guyana that will be inherited by the entire country's population, where people from every single sector, where people from every background, where all section and strata of society will inherit this Guyana, one Guyana to prosperity. Thank you very much.